Hi, good afternoon, guys. And as promised, 12 o'clock, I'm here. I'm not Cyril Ramaphosa coming late for my interviews on live video. But yes, I have sincerely and extremely good news that I need to share with you. This has not been formalized yet in writing. However, we expect the written confirmation still today. If not today, then at least very early tomorrow morning. Okay. The financial giant in South Africa, Old Mutual, were one of the first to introduce vaccination policies, also so-called mandatory vaccination policies. Many of their employees were against this policy. Many of them became my clients during the time that we fought the whole issue of mandatory vaccination. In the meantime, disciplinary inquiries were held at Old Mutual, and I'm advised that more than 600 people were apparently found guilty. I don't know how many were dismissed during those disciplinary inquiries for not following the mandatory vaccination policy. Okay, in other words, we were dealing with a major incident in the South African workforce. You must remember that the people working for Old Mutual are usually higher paid employees. They are economically very active and upwards mobile people, many of them highly skilled people. So I don't want to make one's job less than the others, but you must remember, if we're speaking 600 dismissals, one shot, we're speaking of, let's say, in the more informal sector, the equivalent of 6,000 or 10,000 people, the amount of work that could have been done. Okay, major incident. Two trade unions, thankfully a large part of Old Mutual's workers were already unionized. There's two trade unions that's present in their workplace, the one being SASPO, which is the majority trade union there, and the other one is IBSA, IBSA, which, as far as I know, is a minority trade union, but they do have minority rights in that workplace. IBSA, represented by my dear friend, Mr. Luke Bradley, a person that I came to know over many months as an extremely skilled litigator, extremely skilled negotiator, and a man whose knowledge sometimes even leave me stunned at how much he knows and have experienced in the realms of labor law. Okay. I'm not going to make a lot of fuss about this whole issue of Old Mutual. Enough to say that between the unions, and I can see, especially from IBSA's side, a huge amount of fighting has been done, fighting in the good sense of the word, not fighting, burning down stuff, that kind of thing, fighting through law, because we are still ruled by law. And I've been informed today formally, and I also spoke to Luke about this about an hour ago, that Old Mutual formally came to a halt in its processes relating to mandatory vaccination. In fact, it is now public record from them, and it will be communicated as such, that Old Mutual has basically abandoned its entire mandatory vaccination program. They have stopped. It's not suspended until such time or a certain date. It's not hanging in the air. Old Mutual made a definitive decision that they are stopping. They are totally, I don't want to call it abandoning, that's maybe too harsh a word, but they are stopping and will not enforce their mandatory vaccination policy as far from today. So, no further mandatory force on people to vaccinate, no access control, no problems around all the things that we know about PCR testing, etc., etc. if the rule about masks, which I presume by Friday we will also see, falls away, and many of the NCID rules, then that is also gone. Long and the short is, Old Mutual stopped their mandatory vaccination policy full in its tracks. It's not going ahead. So employees at Old Mutual, those being unvaccinated, and now those that are vaccinated but were up for boosting, you can sigh in relief. The sword is not over your heads any longer. Between the trade unions, the hard work of the trade unions, the fighting of the trade unions, if I may, my little part in this whole thing, Old Mutual, thank you. We really applaud you. We really salute you as taking the lead in corporate South Africa in what you have done today. It was the right decision. For those people that have been dismissed now up to today, the bad news, unfortunately, is that they cannot do a retrospective lifting of the vaccination policy. As such, you are still dismissed as it is. I know that many of you have already referred cases to CCMA. I propose to both the employer, Old Mutual, and the employees to, at CCMA, just simply then settle on the issue of re-employment, just putting those workers back into the positions they were, accommodating them there. If possible, reinstatement. Reinstatement is just different in that you are paid for the time that you were sitting at home awaiting the finalization of the case, or then the softer option for the employer of re-employing those workers into the workplace. That is my sincere opinion of how to solve the problem of those employees who were already dismissed. But the rest of you guys at Old Mutual, sigh in relief, give a sigh of relief. The sword that was hanging over your heads has been lifted. Old Mutual is not proceeding in any way with the mandatory vaccination policy. They have basically abandoned it. They have decided not to enforce it any longer, and I applaud them and I salute them for that. Thank you so much. For the guys in the trade unions, you did a tremendous job. You kept your cool, you stood your ground, and you stonewalled. There's Jackson, standing like Stonewall. I often refer to that. So yes, that is where we are with Old Mutual. And the rest of the industry, I refer back to my video yesterday. Please follow in the steps of Old Mutual. At this point in time, Old Mutual made the clever, the well thought out, the business-like decision of ending this horror in their workplace. They are looking more at their business, at making money, what business people are supposed to do, giving a proper service, giving a proper production, rather than enforcing all kinds of policies from foreign sources, etc., etc. I don't want to go into all those. So yes, that is the breaking news, the great news of today. And please, other corporate entities, as I pleaded from you in my video yesterday, follow suit. There's no egg on your face. There's no honor lost. You were informed by people that at that point in time thought it to be the best way to go. It turned out not to be the best way to go. The real leaders amongst men are those that can accept if they did a wrong turn, if they took a wrong road. The right road is there, and you know where it is. Just go and find it again. From our side, from my side, I will be the first to acknowledge if I was too harsh, if I came down too hard, but unfortunately in the midst of battle, sometimes you need to be extremely hard, extremely tough, and you simply do not hold any bar any holds. You go for it and you go for gold. Okay. From the trade unions, I know you approach this very, skillfully and very diplomatically, and that is what paid off the price in the end. So my hat is off to you too. My salute is to you. Guys, that's it. That's the good news for today. I have not heard definitively from government yet on the issue of dropping all the interim regulations. However, I expect by tomorrow afternoon this time, or very early Friday, we will have a publishing in the government gazette, relating to any regulations, if any, that will go ahead. So yes, that's the good news for today. Have a tremendous day. I'm maybe not going to come back on the record again today. There's a lot of work still to be done for the day. But yes, I had to break this tremendous news to you. And Old Mutual, you're really now the shining light in corporate South Africa in doing the right thing. And we must applaud and salute you. So yes.